What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over the shotguns we currently have in Fortnite Chapter 7 Season 4, and letting you guys know which one I think is best. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, find it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more. Rank the shotguns, how you feel about them in the comments below, and if you guys would like to use my code in the shop when getting anything, it is EvolvedJake, just like my channel name is, and it is underneath the webcam at all times. So starting off with the pump, this is a very basic pump style shotgun where you're going to be trying to hit hard shots, swap to some sort of spray weapon, ideally get the elimination that way, and if not, swap back to the pump once it's ready to shoot again. And the body damage for this pump starts at 84 for the common rarity, and then gets up to 116 for the legendary version, and then headshot damage starts at 165 for the common and gets up to 205 for the legendary version, increasing by 10 for each rarity. The fire rate is 0.7, which is kind of standard for pump shotguns, and then it also has 5 rounds, and you can reload 1 shell at a time. So this is a very basic kind of standard pump shotgun. Nothing too crazy, but also not completely terrible. The pullout time on this one does feel a bit lackluster, and that is one of the main drawbacks it has, because like I said, that pump playstyle is going to be you shoot the pump, swap to a spray, swap back to the pump, and you kind of alternate between those two weapons. And with the swap time not really feeling the greatest, that definitely holds it back. The 8-bit shotgun is going to be the auto shotgun of this season, and its body damage starts out at 92 and gets up to 112 for a legendary. Its headshot damage starts at 125 for common and gets up to 145 for the legendary. And as you see there, there's not a huge damage difference for headshots with this gun. 92 to 125, 112 to 145. You're gaining a little bit of damage there, but it's not like a drastic change. The fire rate is 1.4, which isn't the fastest for auto shotguns, but it gets the job done. And then it also has 10 rounds, and then you have to reload. And the reload is a full animation. You can't put 1 shell in at a time. And so with this shotgun, it's probably best to just not go for headshots at all and just focus on getting body shots, because the way shotguns deal damage in Fortnite is you get damage for each pellet you hit. That's why sometimes you shoot and you're like, why did my shotgun hit for 20 up close? It's because it wasn't a great shot and you got the minimum amount of damage. So you want to maximize how many pellets you get on target. And since the headshot reward isn't very high with the 8-bit shotgun, and then it also has somewhat of a large reticle, I think it's best to just try to focus on getting body shots with the 8-bit. And if you are someone who's been trying to go for headshots, that might be holding you back, because with its larger crosshair, if you go for a headshot and put like the dot on the center of the opponent's head, then the top part of your crosshair is often not going to be on them at all, and then that's going to result in less damage. Maybe, you know, go for body shots, put the dot in the center of your reticle on like the upper neck, upper torso area, and you'll probably get a lot more consistent damage with this weapon. And as I said, the benefit of getting headshots really isn't that significant, so you might as well just maximize pellets and try to get as consistent damage as possible. So far, among these two shotguns, the pump and the 8-bit, the 8-bit definitely feels better to me. If you hit headshots with the pump, obviously the damage potential is higher, but that also requires more of you. And with this kind of problem, or not really problem, I don't know how to describe it, but with this situation in Fortnite, we pretty much always have a pump shotgun and an auto shotgun, and the auto shotgun is much easier to use and much more forgiving than the pump, and the pump is usually harder to use but much better. I feel like the gap between these two weapons isn't high enough to really justify the pump being slightly more inconvenient to use. Hopefully that makes sense. The pump playstyle, you're going to be swapping weapons. You're going to need to get headshots. Like I said, the swap time on this pump doesn't feel that great, and that's going to really limit your damage potential as you're swapping back and forth. And then the 8-bit shotgun is just going to chunk you down with its high fire rate and just consistent body damage. So I think going for body shots with the 8-bit is probably going to be the best between these two shotguns. However, there's currently another shotgun in the loot pool that also got a massive buff this season, and that is going to be the Oni Shotgun. So this isn't in the regular loot pool. You have to go into the menu and spend sprite dust to get it with the loot hacks, and once you buy it, you gain the chance for it to be in your loot pool. And as you spend more sprite dust, you increase the chance of it spawning, and then you also get access to the higher rarity versions of it, and that's where things are going to get pretty crazy, because the purple version, which is the lowest you can get, has a 114 body damage and a 145 headshot. The gold has a body damage of 120 and a headshot of 150. The mythic has a body damage of 125 and a headshot of 155. It also has a 1.55 fire rate, which is faster than the 8-bit shotgun, and it has insane range. If you guys didn't play in Chapter 6 when this was initially in the loot pool, this is a high range shotgun, and that's always an advantage the Oni has, but I feel like that advantage is more significant this season, because both the 8-bit shotgun and the pump, it feels like their range is really lacking to me. So that advantage that Oni has is like more significant since the other shotguns are kind of lacking on range. So it's really, really good. The main drawback of it is going to be that it's only 2 shells, and that can get you into trouble sometimes. You need to have better aim to use this weapon, but it's also a shotgun that doesn't really benefit from headshots that much, and you can just go for body shots. Like I said, the gold does 120 to the body. If you hit 2 of those, that's 240. Sure, the headshot is 150, but that little bit of gain in damage oftentimes isn't going to be worth it with the Oni. So if you can also just go for body shots with the Oni and get very good damage, the reticle is very tight, and so if your reticle is on their torso, you're probably going to hit max. And that also makes it more consistent at range, the fact that the reticle is tight. So it's requires more of you in the sense that it only has 2 shells, but the fact that you could just go for body shots with it, I feel like also makes it a little bit easier in a way. And there also is a sprite this season that completely fixes that problem. The shadow sprite, what it does is it reloads your weapons automatically when they're not equipped. So with the Oni, you could shoot your 2 shells out, swap to a spray weapon, and then after a bit swap back to the Oni and it would be ready to shoot again. You can use it like a pump shotgun where you just empty 2 shots, swap to spray, you know, get your damage there, swap back to the shotgun if needed for the finish. And that is what makes it absolutely absurd. Without the shadow sprite, you know, you miss a shot or 2 in a fight with this, and that's bad because now you have to actually do a reload on your shotgun, and you're probably not going to be able to do that in the middle of a fight. But the shadow sprite allows you to get more shots off with this in the course of a fight, and that makes it a lot better. And yeah, the shadow sprite is like a huge band-aid for the ammo capacity being a problem with this. And if you have a high level shadow sprite, it gives you your ammo back incredibly quick, and so you're going to be able to use it a lot in a fight. That 2 shell problem will also be more significant in team game modes. Like if you're playing squads, it's going to be a lot more of a problem than it would be in solos. But I think the shadow sprite helps shore that up enough to the point where this is probably the best shotgun, regardless of which game mode you play, if you have the shadow sprite. So I think the Oni is incredibly good, probably the best shotgun in the loot pool right now. And I was not a fan of this weapon in the past. So me praising it now means like it is very good. If I had to rank the shotguns, I think I would go 8. Oni Shotgun is the best, 8-bit, then pump. Like I said, this pump is just not good enough to justify its inconvenience. If it had more range or, you know, better damage potential, then maybe. But I feel like the base damage really isn't that great, and then the range also isn't really that great. So it's just a lot of times you're not going to be hitting very hard. So I think the pump is the worst, 8-bit is the second best, and then the Oni is just clearly the best, I think, and you need to be spending your sprite dust to get this in the loot hacks because it is the best shotgun in the game. For now, though, I think it is still worth getting used to the other shotguns because the way the loot hack items work this season is that they will be rotating throughout the course of the season. So the Oni isn't going to be here the entire time. It will be leaving the loot pool in about 2 weeks. So I think use the Oni when you get it, especially if you want to win. You know, get used to it. It's very good, and it's going to be here for 2 weeks. It's going to be here for a fortnight. But also try to get used to those other shotguns too. That way you're just not completely thrown off when the Oni does leave. But that is going to be it for this video. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I asked you to rank the shotguns because I feel like most people are going to say Oni. It's just clearly the best, but I'm interested to see how people also rank the 8-bit and the pump because I think there's a lot more of like back and forth between those 2 shotguns, and you know, it could go either way. They're both about the same. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, subscribe if you would like to see more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.